All right, time for business. The government is seeking additional debt financing to enable it meet its administrative obligations. According to National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Jawona Ndungo, the government is already in talks with the World Bank for more financial support towards promoting sustainable, resilient and inclusive growth. But how does this contrast with the government's campaign promise to cut back on borrowing and reduce national debt? Jimmy Mbogo takes a look.
With the National Treasury now fully constituted, after the swearing-in and handover of two principal secretaries, Dr. Chris Kipto of the National Treasury and James Muhati of Economic Planning, it is now down to business, with Kenyans expecting an economic turnaround. Among the key policy changes that Kenyans will be keen to see is addressing the issue of the country's public debt to GDP ratio.
Another area is going to be public debt. We already have no much headroom in the fiscal space. We'll work with colleagues to see how to manage further escalation of debt.
Although the government had made campaign pledges to cut back on borrowing, it would seem that the realities of government will necessitate additional debt, with the World Bank seen as a key financier.
There are new windows that have been introduced, and we shall engage further with the World Bank Country Office to determine the best options under these windows for the financing of our pipeline and future projects, 750 million for the current financial year. We have been trying to negotiate that to $1 billion, but Keith has promised that this is what is openly possible right now.
According to the World Bank, however, for Kenya to move into a higher middle-income country, the government needs to create an enabling environment for those in the private sector to spur growth and bridge the inequality gap. Sentiments echoed by the International Finance Corporation, which has urged the government to focus on young entrepreneurs for growth.
So we need to create more space, a better enabling environment for investment, connect better to regional and global markets, and help raise productivity.
While the economy now faces new challenges, including rising inflation, food insecurity, and extreme drought, the entrepreneurial strength of its dynamic young population will be drivers of growth.
According to the National Treasury, since 2019, Kenya has received a combined resource envelope of $3.25 billion under the 4 World Bank development policy operations, which could increase under the Ruto administration. With the composition of the National Treasury now complete, what remains to be seen is whether this is the team that will be able to tame the debt crisis. Jimmy Mbogo, KTN News, Nairobi.
The Central Bank of Kenya has announced the reintroduction of charges for the transactions between mobile money wallets